Very exciting day. First of my many guest drivers for this year is going to be joining me here at a very quiet Masters Donington Historic Weekend in the Brustang, which is ready to rock and roll. We've tested it, we've prepared it, and now it's not just going to be me and the preparer driving it, it's going to be our guest driver, the first of whom is Grand Tour test driver Abbie Eaton. So we're looking for a good result. Qualifying is first thing and then the race is last thing in true historic race weekend style. So I desperately hope the car goes well. There are a lot of Mustangs in the race, Cortinas, Ford Falcons, some land yachts versus some British 2-litre touring cars. So an extremely tough field, but a very varied and interesting field as well.
After a difficult debut at the Silverstone Classic last year with an engine failure, I was praying the car would run well. I know how many great cars the manufacturers of the world have put in front of Abbie Eaton, and I was absolutely determined the Mustang would be no different as she headed out for qualifying absolutely flat out. It was a very respectable effort from Abbie in the first 15 minutes of the half-an-hour qualifying session, jockeying a little issue with third to get us in the mix. She gave me all the information I needed as I jumped in the car. I was more than aware it was now down to me to put my guest driver and myself as close to the front of the grid as possible. I was wasting absolutely no time at all.
Qualified P8 overall, P6 in class. Abbie's done a fantastic job, and not so many laps for you, but what do you think of the car? We got some gearbox issues, haven't we, to take it to the race?
Yeah, do you know what? It's just an experience driving the car, and you know, I've not driven it here at Donington either, so the undulations of the track just add another element to it, and I'm trying to work out the stuff that I need to worry about and the stuff that I don't have to think about at all. So the race is going to be interesting. Made a few adjustments to the gearbox for the race, so yep. Fingers crossed we're all good.
The mechanics believe, and we believe, that the Brustang is going to make it to the end of the race. So a little bit of stroking is going to occur through the gate of third gear. But Abbie's going to start the race, aren't you?
Yeah. Best part of the race.
Best part of the race. Side by side, door to door, down to Redgate, and then I'm going to be waiting in the pits, looking hopeful and nervous for the midway point 60-minute race. So very much looking forward to it.
Adjustments to the gearbox. Tactfully put, the mechanics are actually shaving away the chassis to prevent third gear linkage fouling against the tub. A 60-minute two-driver race is a long way for any historic car to go, especially one that has a little bit of a gearbox gremlin in third. But as we gathered in the assembly area, in Abbie we trusted, and she didn't disappoint with a lightning start. P8 to P4 is good enough for me any day, and it was a Steve Soper Mustang in Alan Mann colours that led the way, with a bevy of V8 muscle in close pursuit. Sitting there in P4, we'd need to make good progress. An elite driver penalty due to the experience of our driver lineup would cost us 30 seconds at mid-distance, time I'd have to wrestle back in the second half of the race. Great stint from Abbie to bring the car in inside the top 5, but after our penalty, I'd come out at the back end of the top 10 with some hyper-fast fiberglass Falcons to make my way past. In words I think Abbie might have heard before, and across the line. It was P5 for us after 60 minutes of hard racing. What would I call it? Elation or relief? The Brustang's first race finish in tandem with its first top 5 result. All 4 gears intact, all 8 cylinders firing, and a whole lot of smiles.
Sent it.
Yeah.
It's full squishy, isn't it? After a couple of laps.
Oh my god. Yeah. But the brakes, you're saying I couldn't. And then, because to get it into third with the issues we've got,
Yeah.
you've got to make sure you give it a boot full of power.
Yeah.
And then with the brakes going to the floor, I was like, oh no, I can't get to, the blip. And then I couldn't get into third.
So by the end, I'm like toes on
Yeah.
the brake pedal,
And like
here the
yeah.
full on real heel and
Proper.
toe.
Yeah.
Talk to the superstar. Eighth to fourth in the
Yes,
first corner.
that's it, that.
How would the rest of this thing go?
Oh man, well I thought once I got into fourth, I was like, blooming heck, I've got to try and stay here now and learn on the fly. And who was it in the red car that?
Craig Davies, who finished third in the end.
Yeah, so he was pulling me in, and then actually once he got past, I was like, right, I'll just see what he's doing and where he's sideways and where he's not. So then I stuck with him, and then when the brakes went a bit long, and then I had to reprogram my brain, and yeah, I enjoyed it for sure, and yeah, definitely do it again.
Well, I didn't have too many brakes or tyres left at the end, but still, like, managed to hoon back through, because after the penalty we ended up sort of where did we come out of the pit?
Eighth or ninth?
Eighth
Something
or
way
ninth,
down, yeah.
And
And you were flying, mate, all the way through.
Money.
You were like 2 seconds a lap quicker than some.
That was good. We zoomed back through and finished up fifth in the end. We're just clapping the winners here. But yeah, it's good to get it to the end, firstly and foremostly, and still a long way to go with it to make it race winning, but
We're both smiling.
we're both smiling, which is the main thing. I'm not sure the rear left tyre is smiling. I think it might be spread all over coppers somewhere, but we've had a great time. Abbie's done a brilliant job. Thank you
Thanks a lot.
so
Thanks
much.
for having me.
Brilliant,
Enjoyed it.
brilliant drive, and yeah, we'll see you next time out with another mystery guest at Silverstone.
Who will be the mystery guest at the Silverstone Classic? Will the Mustang take home its first trophy, or even maybe a magical first win? Well, motorsport fans, you'll have to tune in to episode 2 of Adventures of the Brustang to find out.